Tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme. The Thunderbird exists. Well, at least to some people. Hello everyone, and welcome to Wicked Encounters, where we explore just what goes bump in the night. I'm your host, Allie, and today we're going over one of the more popular cryptids out there. Even those not interested in cryptids have heard its name before, the Thunderbird. While Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, and Mothman are all incredibly popular,
damn boy, he's thick!
They don't have the same relevance in their names like the Thunderbird does. This cryptid has had its name used for a famous United States Air Force jet squadron, a British superhero show, bands, sports teams, and a Ford luxury car. But what exactly is a Thunderbird? And could they actually exist? Thunderbirds are massive bird-like animals that occupy the entirety of North America, and a good portion of Central America as well. Described as similar to a vulture or a condor in appearance, they're said to have a wingspan from 16 to 70 feet across that make a sound resembling thunder when it flaps them, hence its name. Their plumage consists of very dark feathers, save for a collar of white around their neck and a light-colored head if not bald. Though this also depends on who you're hearing about the Thunderbird from, as some people also say that they have very bright and colorful feathers. So, Native American mythology is steeped with mentions of the Thunderbird from all across North America, with some tribes giving it more magical features such as the Algonquins, who told tales of the Thunderbird's massive wings not just making a sound similar to thunder, but actual thunder, by flapping its wings along with the ability to produce lightning from its eyes or wings. In their specific mythos, the Thunderbirds were ancient ancestors of the human race, and control the upper world, while the underworld is controlled by the underwater panther or the great horned serpent. The lightning it generates is said to be used to attack the great horned serpent and its followers in order to keep humanity safe. In many versions, the Thunderbird or birds, since depending on which tribe you're referencing, would depend on if the creature is a single entity or an entire species, they're viewed as a protector of humans, as well as an enforcer of morality. They're viewed as incredibly intelligent and fearsome when angered by being able to provide life to an area, bringing forth rain or destruction through winds, floods, droughts, and fires caused by the lightning it could produce. So, basically it's the Avatar, and you don't want to make the Avatar angry. In response to one village completely pissing off one of these beings, it completely turned them all to stone. Every single one of them. Not a single villager was spared from their stone-like fate. So an angry Thunderbird was something to be avoided at all costs. Similar to many other deities in Native American lore, they were shapeshifters, capable of switching to a human form by removing their feathers like one would a blanket or a pelt, and tipping their beaks up over their head like a mask. In their human form, some cultures believed they would marry into human families, and even have offspring. To change back, they would simply put their beak back down and don their feathers. Thunderbirds were typically spotted on the top of totem poles, showing just how much reverence was given to them. Despite the protector status, Thunderbirds were also prone to grabbing animals and children in their talons and carrying them off. From our brief mention of the great horned serpent, you might quickly realize that the Thunderbird is not afraid to throw hands, with stories of them fighting killer whales or other monstrous deities being pretty regular. Whales were also apparently their favorite snack, since there are many tales of them grabbing one and hauling its fat ass into the sky to be devoured, which is where the existence of them is called into question. But sightings of them have popped up over the years. On April 26, 1890, an issue of Tombstone Epitaph, a monthly publication from Tombstone, Arizona, reported on a story involving two ranchers and a winged monster. The article read as such: a strange winged monster discovered and killed on the Huachuca Desert. A winged monster resembling a huge alligator with an extremely elongated tail and an immense pair of wings was found on the desert between the Whetstone and Huachuca Mountains last Sunday by 2 ranchers who were returning home from the Huachucas. The creature was evidently greatly exhausted by a long flight, and when discovered, was able to fly but a short distance at a time. After the first shock of wild amazement had passed, the 2 men, who were on horseback and armed with Winchester rifles, regained sufficient courage to pursue the monster, and after an exciting chase of several miles, succeeded in getting near enough to open fire with their rifles and wounding it. The creature then turned on the men, but owing to its exhausted condition, they were able to keep out of its way, and after a few well-directed shots, the monster partly rolled over and remained motionless. The men cautiously approached, their horses snorting with terror, and found that the creature was dead. Other newspapers began circulating this story, but none ever elaborated on who the men were that killed the massive creature or provided photographs of it. Odd, because the article also included information on how the 2 ranchers proceeded to measure out the beast. In continuation from the article, after they reached the dead bird, they then proceeded to make an examination and found that it measured about 92 feet in length, and the greatest diameter was about 50 inches. The monster had only 2 feet, these being situated a short distance in front of where the wings were joined to the body. The head, as near as they could judge, was about 8 feet long, the jaws being thickly set with strong, sharp teeth. Its eyes were as large as a dinner plate and protruded about halfway from the head. They had some difficulty in measuring the wings as they were partly folded under the body, but finally got one straightened out sufficiently to get a measurement of 78 feet, making the total length from tip to tip about 160 feet. The wings were composed of a thick and nearly transparent membrane and were devoid of feathers or hair, as was the entire body. The skin of the body was comparatively smooth and easily penetrated by a bullet. The men cut off a small portion of the tip of one wing and took it home with them. Well, that sounds like a really big pterodactyl to me. After a while, the story faded into obscurity, before having it rematerialize in a 1963 issue of Saga being penned by Jack Pearl, who was the first person to compare it to the Thunderbird. He also claimed that there was a photograph of the bird that was taken by the ranchers, and described it as showing a bird that was nailed to a wall with its wings spread out, while 6 men stand in front of the corpse with their arms outstretched, touching each other's fingertips to show the massive size of the creature. Since then, more people claimed they had seen the photo as well, such as researcher Ivan T. Sanderson, who said he had a photostat of it that he loaned to 2 associates who lost it. This is why I don't loan anyone anything. Editors of Fate magazine believed they may have even been the ones to publish the photo in an earlier issue, but after searching their back catalog, they couldn't find it. The search for the missing Thunderbird photo became an obsession in the 1990s for those interested in it.
I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them.
With articles being published over several issues of Mark Travinsky's Strange magazine. Readers would believe they had seen the photo, citing old books, Western photograph collections, National Geographic, and more. Hell, even the Mothman Prophecies author John Keel claimed he saw it in a magazine, but no photo has ever materialized. Well, at least none that are authentic. Over the years, drawings of the supposed photograph had been shared, and many people online have created Photoshop creations of what it might have looked like, but all current photos claiming to be of a Thunderbird up to this point are all confirmed fakes. Also, if it was only 6 men, that would make the bird have a 36-foot wingspan, which is a far cry from the 160 feet that the men claimed it was at. Once again, we cannot measure to save our lives. The 1890 sighting is far from the only report we have on Thunderbirds, though. In 1892, a man named Fred Murray claimed to see a flock of Thunderbirds near Dents Run in Cameron County, Pennsylvania. He claimed they looked like massive buzzards with 16-foot wingspans. Another Thunderbird was spotted near Jersey Shore, Lycoming County, said to be the size of a plane. Not a commercial airline, mind you, but, that's still pretty big, especially for a bird. One sighting that has a bit more meat to its bones took place on July 25, 1977 in Lawndale, Illinois. It was reported that on that day, 10-year-old Maron Low was playing in his backyard around 8 o'clock p.m. while his mother Ruth was in the kitchen cleaning up when she heard her son scream. When she ran outside, she saw two giant birds with wingspans of roughly 10 feet attacking her son, pecking at his head and shoulders until they actually lifted the 56-pound child 35 feet off the ground. He must have struggled something fierce because he did make it back to the ground, and the birds eventually gave up on their prey and took off into the sky. In the last 100 years, reported sightings have only gone up, not down, since the initial report in 1890. So, if so many people have seen this bird, why is it deemed a cryptid and not an actual animal? At least the less mystical versions of them. Well, probably because it has so many mystical elements attributed to it. But if not a Thunderbird, then what could these sightings be? Many people believe that what is perceived to be a Thunderbird is simply a case of misidentification. Andian Condors are capable of having wingspans of 10 feet, while the bird with the largest wingspan that we currently have evidence of, the wandering albatross, has a wingspan of 12 feet, a far cry from the potential 30, 70, or 160 feet of the Thunderbird. It is also possible that a more exotic bird, such as an African crowned eagle, got loose and was responsible for the Thunderbird attacks that had been reported. These baddies have been known to attack and eat human children. In one case of these attacks, a 7-year-old boy who weighed approximately 44 pounds was attacked by a crowned eagle who gouged the boy's throat and chest, only stopping when a woman came up and bludgeoned it to death with a hoe. Other kids weren't as lucky, like 4-year-old Simon Thomset, who is believed to be a victim of a crowned eagle after her severed arm was found in a tall tree, not accessible to leopards. Birds are mean. Now we know Thunderbirds are major in Native American mythology, but Native American mythology is really broad, especially when you consider how many hundreds of tribes there are. So how did so many decide on a giant bird for their mythos? Well, much like today, people talk, and stories get shared, gossip. Humanity loves to seek explanations for how things work. We always have. It's possible the Thunderbird was used as a metaphor for upholding morality and explaining natural weather phenomena. Raptors and heavier birds are often spotted traveling with storms to catch updrafts. It's hard work for them to fly with how heavy they are. All 16 pounds of them. There are heavier flying birds, the heaviest being the Cory bustard, with males potentially topping 42 pounds. But they live in Africa, and they don't fly for long, and takeoffs are a challenge, so they don't do it often and stay low to the ground. Not exactly as majestic as what a Thunderbird is said to be capable of. There's also a chance that back in ye olden days, the Thunderbird might have been an exaggerated Haast's eagle, the largest known eagle species. These raptors were around up until the mid-1400s, and are believed to be the Maori's mythical pokai, a monstrous bird that killed and ate humans. Haast eagles were capable of killing adult moa, another extinct bird, though this one flightless, that was capable of weighing up to 500 pounds. Not exactly a whale like what Thunderbirds snack on, but massive creatures that are definitely worthy of having a myth made of them. For the more recent sightings, well, humans have always been bad with gauging sizes.
It's normal size and fully functional!
And I really wouldn't be surprised if most of these sightings are simply a bald eagle, a condor, an albatross, or a vulture. We really underestimate just how big animals are. But what do you think? Do you believe in Thunderbirds? What about the ones capable of shooting lightning from their eyes? Have you ever seen one? Let me know in the comments. I read them all because, well, you guys are awesome. I love seeing the different theories you guys have and the various sightings you or people you know have experienced. If you like learning about the unknown wonders and scary tales of the world, why not like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification so you know when I post. To that note, thank you to everyone who has already subscribed to the channel, and an even bigger, huge, massive shout of gratitude to those who support the channel over on Patreon. You guys are seriously amazing, and I'm so very thankful for you. Well, until next time, I'm Allie, this is Wicked Encounters, and I'll see you next time. Bye!